Hello guys, here's a new tutorial for texturing a character with Blender 2.8. The character is used as a player in my Unity low poly game kit. I will show you in the end of the video how to import it as FBX. You can walk around with the character in the scene, you can pick up items and jump. All these animations are created with Blender. But in this tutorial I want to show you how I texture this low poly character with Blender 2.8. And first of all I want to show you Vertex groups. Here you can see the character, and on the right side in the Object Data panel you can see the defined vertex groups that you can select for the mesh. Here's one for the gloves. When I press select, the faces of the gloves will be selected and the button deselect will, deselect them. We will use this feature later on for UV mapping and texturing, but now I want to show you how to create your own vertex groups. For example, we have one group for the trousers, but I want to split this. I want to have a vertex group for the trousers and the boots. So what I do is to enable first my screencast keys add-on so that you can see which keys I'm pressing. And then I go to transparency in edit mode so that we can select the vertices of the boots at the front and also at the back side. I use a box select for this and I snap the view to front auto. And then I remove these selected faces from the vertex group trousers. Okay, then I deselect all and select the trousers vertex group. But I see we have to add these faces as well to the vertex group, so I select them and press assign. And now we have one vertex group for the trousers. And now I want to add a new vertex group for the boots, so I select them also with box select. And here are some faces missing, so we have to add them to the selection. Alright, and now we can create a new vertex group, which I call cloth boots, and then I assign the selection to it. Okay, and now it's easy to select the boots, for example, by just pressing select for this vertex group. But how can this be useful for texturing? I will show this in a minute. First let's have a look at the material of the character. It is called Matte Poly. You can see it when I enable here the material tab. And it is very simple. Let's just open here the shader editor so that you can see the nodes. It just has a diffuse shader and one texture assigned to the color slot. And this one texture that is assigned contains nothing else than just a few color squares. I painted this with Krita and the 16x16 pixel brush, but you can use any drawing application you like. Okay, and now comes the trick. When I turn to the look dev mode, you can see the assigned texture on the mesh, and the image is assigned to every face. This is because of a very simple UV unwrapping. I press U and then choose reset with the whole mesh selected. Now every UV island is scaled to the whole size of the texture. Okay, but why do we need this? Let me show you. Now I have all UVs selected and I press S to scale them down so that the size of each island fits a color square. And now look at this, what happens when I move them over a color by pressing G and moving the mouse. This is the way I'm going to texture this, and now I'll come back to my vertex groups and select, for example, the boots. And now you guess it, we have the boots selected, and of course the UVs of the boots, and we can just move them to the brown color square and the boots are brown. Isn't that fun? We don't have to add seams or something like that. We don't have to really unwrap the model. We just move the selected UVs to the matching color square. I love it, and the best thing is you can reuse your texture, just one texture for all your meshes. I'm doing this now for every part, for all vertex groups. And before I move the UVs to the colors, I check if I have really the right vertices, the right faces selected. Now I do this here for the hair, for which I also choose a brown tone. Okay, looks good. And after that for the face, for the skin. You see, this is always the same procedure now, as long as you have your vertex groups defined correctly. Okay, this one is the shirt. I think I will use a green tone for this. And now the belt, this could be brown or even gray. And for the trousers there is a small mistake because the belt is also a part of this vertex group. But let's see how to work around this. What we could do is to select the faces in the UV editor that are not assigned to the belt. And these are the ones that are not inside of the gray color square, because these ones we already mapped to the belt. So we just select the other ones and move them to a different color. Okay, now we have the trousers and I think I will use a darker gray tone for the belt. So I select the vertex group again and move the faces. Okay, now we come to the belt buckle. We don't have a vertex group for this, but that's not a problem. We can hover over the mesh with the cursor and press the L key to select it, and then we can again move the UVs to a gray tone. And for the circle in the center, I select it now, I choose a yellow color square. Okay, we are almost done, only the vest is left. But for this I have a vertex group as well. I select a different brown tone for the vest. Yeah, this looks pretty nice. Okay, now we selected all color squares. Now we can switch to a preview render mode in cycles. But we can change to the Eevee render engine as well, because we are in Blender 2.8. This looks a bit flat for now, but I will show you in a moment how to improve this. But the next step is to export the character as FBX. And the character has an armature that is hidden, so I will unhide this here in the outliner. And then I click on the icon for the armature in the outliner and have the Ctrl key pressed. Then the armature and the mesh is selected so that we can export the whole character. I choose File, Export, FBX. And then I export with these options: Experimental, Apply Transform, Armature, Mesh and Selected Objects Only. I'm exporting directly into the folder of my Unity Low Poly Game Kit project so that it is imported when I open the Unity project. Okay, but before we jump over to Unity, let me show you how to improve the view in Blender a bit. I disable the display of the floor. And for the Look Dev mode, I enable the scene lights. That looks cool, and now I enhance this even more by adding some post-processing effects like bloom and anti-aliasing. Okay, now let's switch to my Unity project, the Low Poly Game Kit, and have a look at the imported character. All the models of the game kit share the same texture with the color squares. Here on the right side you can see the imported character with the exported animations, for example the death or the pickup animation. I set up the prefab for the player like the previous one. The only thing I changed is the animator controller, in which I used the exported animations of the new character. Okay, so let's start the game and see the new character as the player in action. The link to the Low Poly Game Kit Pro is added to the description below. You can get it from the Unity Asset Store and use it for your games as you like. If you have new ideas for features, characters, models, animations, whatever, add these to the comments and I will take them into consideration. If you like the game kit, my tutorials and my channel, then don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you like to support the development, think about being my patron, this would really help a lot. Thanks for watching guys, and I see you on JNM.